Alright, so this is my Warriors update for 10.8, and it revolves around this one card here being the Highland Warlord. So, deploy, increase the damage of your raid cards by 1 for the rest of the game, and we technically have 8 here because Blood Eagle has Echo, and then we have the 2 times War of Clans, the 2 times Gutting Slash, and the 2 times Primal Savagery. Now, imagine being able to play this card twice because we have 2 of them in deck, and then get an extra 2 damage on up to 8 plays throughout the match, which it's kind of crazy if you think about it. However, it gets better than that because now we can go and resurrect maybe with the Fukusha or resurrect one with the Herald or even both and play these up to 4 times throughout the match, getting 4 extra damage up to 8 times on all the raid cards that we play in the match. It feels kind of broken if you think about it. I think it's a little bit overkill. So I usually don't take 4 times. However, I think 3 is the sweet spot. So what you could do is you could play the initial ones early on. You can replay one with maybe Herald on Crate. And then you can go and take Fukusha for something else. I like using Fukusha for something else because she plays basically anything 10 or less provisions. So we have a little bit more reach, right? Whether it's Tall Punish, Engine Removal, whether it's looking for another raid card, you know, or going for something like the Raider, which can help set up a play for later. Now, I mentioned that we do overkill a little bit with these because oftentimes, if you're looking at how much damage we're doing here, let's say we play 2 of these from hand, and, you know, we have basically this at 6 damage, and then 8 with Bloodthirst 2. Now, we might not need to kill something at that amount of power. We might only need to kill something at 4 power. So, you know, we're going to be wasting points to a degree, but we get rewarded for it a little bit later with King Bran. And I really like the synergy that this has with the deck. So boost self by 0, increase the value by 1 whenever excess damage is dealt to enemy units. At the start of the game, trigger the veteran ability of your units. So again, we get rewarded for this. This could be like a last save finisher play, and usually I've been finding that it boosts itself by around 5. Right? If we have all of our setup done properly, there should be around 5 instances where we just overkill units, and I don't mind that too much, right? Another time of overkill would be when we take the Iced play, and then we take the Blaze of Glory leader ability on something like the Jutta, so we could dish 12 points of damage to the opponent's side of the playing field, right? We might only need to remove a 6 or a 10 power unit. That would still count as an overkill, which would contribute to King Bran. What I like about King Bran as well is it goes deeper than that, and it's often overlooked, but being able to have Veteran triggered on all the cards with Veteran at the beginning of the game is actually amazing, because if you look at the deck here, we've got Iced, we have Bran himself, we have Scoia'tael, I have 2 times on crate Raiders, and then we have the 2 times Highland Warlords and the 2 times Tursic Invaders. So I believe that adds up to 9 different units in the deck that have Veteran. So this card's giving us 9 points at the beginning of the game, right? And then it's giving us the 5 boost, give or take, at the end of the game. So just a wild card and a big point slam itself, you know, as a last save finisher. So I think that this is really nice addition to the archetype, and I'm really glad that they put it in there. This card's not a warrior, but it just fits right into the regime pretty well, right? An alternative to that could be something like the Turg v Tursic if you wanted to have another veteran card, if you wanted to kind of be maybe more lore friendly, but I feel like this is kind of better for the meta right now. There's a lot of times where we need to get around a defender in the Nilfgaard matchup or in the Syndicate one where they're 1-power defenders by nature and they're boosted. That could be a good way to get through them. Other matchups where people just go super tall like Knights, this is really good, whereas this wouldn't be very good. Now, you can't tutor this with Blood Eagle like you could tutor most of the other cards in the deck, but you know, if we can thin out well enough to draw it, that's kind of what we're looking for here. And we have 2 thins off the Blood Eagle, we have the 1 off the Ice Leader combo, and we have the Vabjorn here. So I'm hoping that, you know, that should just be enough, right? I also have the Mask of Ouroboros that I added to the deck. I noticed that a lot of people aren't using this, but I find it's a really nice addition to Warriors, because what you can do in round 1 is obviously cycle through the deck a little bit better. Being able to draw a card and discard a card is huge, but also it can help turn on the War Clans right away. So there will often be times where we have War Clans in hand in round 1, and normally we wouldn't be able to play it, but now we can actually play it without a problem, because we can take one of these 3 cards, preferably the Ancrate Warrior, and discard that in round 1, and then we can go take War Clans, get the damage, and bring this Resurrected, and instead of doing bleeding, we can just immediately give the 3 damage, which is much better for engine removal than just putting bleeding on something like that. So not only are we helping consistency, we're helping set up plays in round 1 that can make a difference. So that's pretty much it. I've tried so many different versions of the deck, guys. I think some considerations would have been the Turg V, as I mentioned. There are too many Purifies going around, in my opinion. You could put potentially a Jenge, but I feel like for everything we want to lock, we generally want to remove, and we have no shortage of removal, so that's pretty much it. I tried the discard package with the Coral and the Burna play, and it wasn't very smooth. Which one's Burna? There she is. So, you know, because you had to factor in a lot more stuff, it took away some of the core elements of the deck. But I think this one runs pretty smooth, and I had a little bit of a streak going with this one here. We won about 6 or 7 in a row on stream the other day, and it was a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend giving it a try like this if you haven't already, and I'm going to be giving you guys 6 games with commentary for reference, so you guys can see how this plays in various matchups on the ladder, and hope you like it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let me know what you guys want to see next. But that's pretty much it for now, guys. Let's get into the video, and I'll see you tomorrow with another one. And for the first game, we got Royal Inspiration Northern Realms. Knights are a challenge for warriors, especially if we go first, because they have so much tempo, right? So the problem in this match is going to be getting out of round 1 without losing on even. And essentially what I mean by that is them just playing the same amount of cards as us and being in a position where they're leading, right? It's kind of a bad thing for me. So the best thing we could do is look for some carryover and just try and get out. So tucking back one of those, meaning we can play it from grave with the War Clans, could result in getting rid of one of their engines, which could give us a little bit more leeway in this round. Again, kind of an ugly engine, because when they put that up, and then they put the damn Sorceress up, they're getting 4 points per turn. Now, we don't have that kind of tempo, so what can you really do here, right? If I ping the shield off with the Brockfire, they get the 2 boost. But if they play the damn Sorceress, it's at 7 power. So I could basically ping it and then get the 3 damage with the clans and then get the 3 damage with the warriors. So that's the way I'm looking at it here. Now, if they don't have a way to get rid of the shield on the Immortals going forward, like if they don't have access to another damn Sorceress, then this engine's just shut down. Sure enough, despite my efforts, it's something that we just have to deal with here. So that tells me I probably need to get out of the round soon, because what else can you do? I can't shut it down. I don't have Tall Punish. And once they're in a position of authority like this, I don't think that they would pass. One thing we could try and set up, though, would be the Highland Warlords, so we get the 2 of them going on, right? I don't mind that at all, because we don't need a death blow or anything. It does remove the possibility of using Blood Eagle in round 2 and 3, which might be the case because if the opponent is going to bleed heavily here, they only have 1 charge left of each of the echoes, whereas if we have 2 with the Blood Eagle, it puts us at a little bit of an advantage in that case, right? Being able to fight, making sure we get the cards we need in round 3 as well. It's kind of a big deal. Seeing Morkvarg here is really nice. Invader kind of just sits at 7 points. Getting Blood Eagle from a draw is really nice to see here too.
Long live Qcento.
Little bit of a cheeky play here. If you ping that, it'll move forward first and not do damage to us, and then we could just play that from hand. Or from the pull. But just something to think about if you guys are playing in tonight's matchup. And now we just really get some value here. I want to take Primal Savagery here because, you know, it trades 4 provision for 4 provision, but it also gives me a bit of a tempo start, which might make them feel like they shouldn't bleed, because our round 3 is better as we have the full veteran kick in and the Herald get the Veil and the other passives. So just really good reasons for that. I'm kind of tempted to go and take Leader here, but we have to sort of avoid the temptation, right? The way I see it is if Reynard doesn't have a lot of other boosted units to boost, then it's not that great. It'll be harder to get Bloodthirst, but we have a lot of the raid cards that are going to overkill things anyways. Might as well just float that, so then, you know. Okay, that's like a really good removal there. Like, the Squire turns another card into an engine and gives it carryover. So we have to value that, you know? I think Scoia'tael's worth it here. Just getting rid of that other card because although it's moved to melee and it's not an active engine, it still does have grace. So there are points that they can get from that card that are just probably worth removing before they get out of hand, right?
What has that witch done?
So they just want to go for that carryover. Unfortunately, we don't have a Brock for a Hunter. If we take Leader off a shield, it doesn't do it for us. Like, we'd have to look at breaking it down with the Morkvarg, if anything, right? Imagine Igni. What I like about it is, like, taking a Morkvarg here is good because they've already triggered Grace. So if they boost it back up, it doesn't get resilience again. If we were to, like, I mean, it's low anyways, like, we don't have a Purify, but you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know why they went so hard to push it up when they should do that if it's Purified, but I guess they figured we wouldn't have Gremist. So we defended our card, right? They got the carryover. I mean, at 5 points, it's not horrible. Our draw is pretty well perfect here. There are a couple raids we could pull off the Vabjorn. We have set up for Blood Eagle. Fukusha's got some good targets. The only thing I don't love here would be the Invader, but it still does play for 9 points with Herald with the ping, so it's really not that bad. So in this event, you pretty well just take this. I'm just counting up the raids. Sometimes if you don't have a lot of raids, it's not worth it, right? So make sure you've got a few of them. Otherwise, I would probably just take something like the Raider in this case. But having that extra utility to kill things with the Raiders feels pretty attractive against engine-heavy matchups. So I opt to go with something like that. What do they get here? Just a quick heat wave. They had enough of it. I guess that would be the safe bet if it plays, you know, throughout the whole hand worth of warriors. But I find as much as we want to play warriors nowadays, we also want to play the raid cards in round 3, so now off the bat we've got 4 points of removal on the next thing that they play, plus whatever else we play from hand. So it's going to be difficult if we can maintain this position for the opponent to get some cards played, right? You'll see what I mean here. They put down scenario. We can take care of that if we really need to. Is there any way that we can kill that without damage 6? Probably. Right? Just dome it. We don't really want it to damage our unit, so we don't want to expose it. We just want to remove it. And as the round starts to condense here, it's starting to look more and more like we're meant to take Fukusha for like a Morkvarg, you know? Can't say I love doing that, but I think we just have to. War Clans is a little bit of an overkill. But we could take the 4 and then bring back... Yeah, bring back the Brockvar for that added engine value, I guess. Play it sooner than later, so we get... It's either Brockvar or it's the Savagery. But that just seems like a little bit more effective here. Now, don't get me wrong, they have a lot of points that they could pack into a couple short turns. You see what I mean? It all starts here. So we gotta get rid of that as soon as possible. And that's another thing to think about. It has a shield on it, which, how else do we remove, right? Big problem. I could just Blood Eagle the shield, because we're sitting at 12 power right now. I'm thinking about Fukusha Rain on the shield, but if I just say forget about the Blood Eagle damage, just get it over with, like that's fine too. Or just greed it for one more turn and ping shield with the Brockvar, which is also fine. Just makes it a little bit more difficult because of the... Okay, I like that a bit better. It makes me feel a little less bad about, you know, using Blood Eagle for nothing. The only thing I don't like is it doesn't remove it cleanly. It kind of leaves it sitting there at 1 point, which is awkward. But Fukusha Rain can do it. Like, there's a lot of things that can do it. Actually, the counter on Brockfar reduces by 1 when we play Fukusha, because it reduces when we play a beast. So we'll be able to just hit the Morkvark on the 12 here, and just use the 1 ping, which will then lock the Braun. Yeah, there we go. It's like a puzzle, you know? I love control decks for this reason. If they put that between anything on the Range Rover, they're actually losing points. So their leaders are not very effective at this point. It wasn't the most effective King Bran at endgame, but it was still, like, good throughout the game. So next up here we got Blood Money Syndicate, and you don't see it often, so I'm actually pretty excited about this matchup here. It's just another one of those things where I don't like going first when we play Skellige Warriors specifically, right? The tempo is just not there. So we don't want to pull Jutta early. We want to actually just keep her in deck so we can take her out with the iced play. And obviously having too many cards like the Invader in hand aren't very good tempo plays for round 1 either. We are going first, so holding one of the Warriors and the War Clans is pretty good. And then having the 2 Warlords in hand is really good. Now, Herald is something that we can't really play in round 1 anyways, so Herald has to go back in the deck. I can always tutor him out later, because once we get a bit of thinning done, we can, you know, find that Blood Eagle, take the Herald out. That's our main target that we're looking for. Okay, so same as usual. It kind of starts off the same, like a lot of decks do, right? We just need to set up the graveyard, get this set up here, and that Warrior Engrave is going to help us get out of the round, I think. I'm expecting at this point in the match they're going to be playing Bounty, even before this card comes down. So I want to have something to get rid of their spenders, because I just put out a bounty deck the other day, and I know that, you know, when you remove the spenders, it makes it very difficult to finish and recycle these bounties. Now here's number 1 coming down. They often have 2 of those, and then they have the Freak Show, so if I can answer all 3, we're feeling pretty good. Now, Primal Savagery hits that for 4 and spawns a 6. That's actually a massive play. If you can get the setup with the Warlords and have those Savageries in hand, they're literally round win conditions for round 1, and we don't mind spending them there. But 13, nothing makes it so that we should just be able to get out of the round without having to worry too much. I'm not convinced at this point with the amount of coin they have that they'll be able to catch up in 1 turn, so there's probably consideration to go and just take that here. Payday's kind of slow again. They don't have 6 coin. If they play another spender, they have profit 2, and I don't expect them to use leader to kill that off. So something like that wouldn't be so bad either. Now, Candle's kind of slow. It gives them the coin. It's just, I don't think it's worth it to spend a War of Clans here and overkill that card that's now doing nothing on the board. I think it's better for them to try and chase a lead, because by putting down Candle, you're looking to establish some carryover, yeah? So, you know, it makes it harder to bleed into round 2, except Graydon wasn't what I had in mind. So Graydon's a little bit of a surprise. Had I known, maybe I would have played a little bit longer into the round, but it is what it is. We're in like a really healthy spot, though, that if they bleed, we can defend that bleed effectively, because the 2 War Clans are going to play for a ton of points. Just all the removal here. That's actually perfect. Now we can get Herald. It's got to be the hand. Yeah, let's just take it. Like, double clan set up already, fine. And they pass. So just all that force, that gold commitment early on, and then we just get the pass off. It doesn't feel great taking the Raider here, but I think we've done enough setup, and we haven't really committed much that I don't mind spending this card here on a pass. Right? We're pretty well guaranteed to get all the stuff that we need for round 3. Herald off the Blood Eagle. I just hope that I can maybe pull Scoia'tael, you know, organically here. Okay, okay. Alright, let's put that back. Now that's just the target. If I'm getting picky, I want a Raider too, but when you start taking extra mulligans, that's where it gets kind of risky, you know? So sometimes you just have to deal with what you have if it's like the best option and go from there. There's not a lot that I can play. I can either put down Herald or I can put down Fukusha, but putting down Fukusha wastes a bunch of points because there's going to be a rain on the side of the playing field, and then they're just going to play in the other row. So alternatives just to throw King Bran, but I don't mind Herald here.
To arms, all of yous.
So this plays for more points. It's the 6, and then we have the ton of raid cards in hand. We're not getting the ping off the Herald passive because they don't have anything on the board, so it's fine. You know, seeing blood money come down on the Herald's actually not a big deal. Like, it sucks, but that's the leader out of the way, so that's the way I look at it. And we've only have 2 more warriors in hand anyways, and 1 from deck. I mean, we do play a couple off the clans, but big fear is if they keep going unitless, then I have a problem. This deck doesn't play well into unitless decks, so trying to figure out what we can actually play. If I self-slash, then it actually is kind of nice because it forces them to play a unit, and then they also don't get to spend their coin, so they overprofit there, and anything they play here is going to overprofit, so it's going to make the rollout of their hand feel really weird. That's sort of like a risky play to make, but I feel like it's kind of good. Because now I can just sort of respond to what they're doing and turn things around a little bit more. You see, they've already wasted 2 coins here, so I don't feel too bad about it. And then now they're starting to give me stuff to interact with, which is kind of the idea. A lot of the stuff we're going to play here is going to be overkill. You see how the War of Clans is now doing 5 damage. And if I go for Fukusha, it's cool, but it's honestly too much rain. Right? We're overkilling the back row now, too. So we'll just use that before we lose that. I guess we have to take this because it's the best thing we can do. I mean, that works too. I could just go with the Tursic Invader here because if they play the Witchfinder, they're going to keep giving the 8 bounty. It's painful to see 3 turns of rain on an empty row. I'm telling you. Yeah, 8 coin here, easy answer, right? I think it's a little too much of an overkill to go take the warrior there, so at least play the Brockvar, and we have a little bit more leverage to remove stuff. If we have to run into removing a 7 or an 8, you know, having that extra little chip is kind of nice. And they pull Bounty out on a veiled unit, so it actually comes and saves the day. Now just feels like a really good time to take leader, right? We play Ice from hand, take the Jutta on the 12, get rid of their spender, and, you know, that makes a huge difference there. Perfect fit, and they had enough. They're calling it here. That's nice. Moving on to the next one here, we got Line Pocket Syndicate. Back-to-back Syndicate matchups. Again, we go first. I would say we're getting unlucky with that. King Brand doesn't really play well in round 1, so we could tuck that back. Same with Herald. I do have the War of Clans, so now I'm kind of thinking about what can we discard. Maybe we can pull into a Warrior. That'd be kind of nice. 2 Savageries are tough to set up if you don't have the 2 Warlords, so there's consideration to put 1 back. But realistically, we have the Brockvar to help set it up too, so it's not all bad, and the Raider. Yeah, it's probably the Invader that has to go at this point. It's not really doing anything. If we have to play deep into the round, the Hunter's better. And just with the Savageries, the Hunter's better, so... Okay. It feels like Vabjorn, Blood Eagle, second Warlord, right? At least now we can get rid of it. If we need the tempo, we can even go as far as taking out the Invader. But now we have the we have the Savageries turned online. They're doing 4 points of damage plus the 6-point spawn, so it feels pretty good. Now they can't afford to dish the poison off, so I think we have to get rid of 1. And with the 20-6 lead, we should be able to get out of the round if we're looking to pass on the next card. Again, they don't have the funds. Gutting Slash will do 6. Now, it sucks because the longer we play into the round without playing Brock for Hunter, the worse he gets. But we're starting to lose that window, you know, for playing them all together. So, it's one of those things. Now would be the time. At least get a couple turns out of the way. I like the fact that we saw 2 of the failed experiments early. And seeing that too is kind of nice. Watch them roll another one. Okay, good. 14, 18. Knickers comes out. We're up by 1 point. I don't know if I want to give them the round, because I know it's probably the Golden Necker, right? And they have really good bleed potential. So that feels pretty good too. Eliminate the Spender. They have cooldown of 2 on the failed experiment. We have ways to remove it, just in case. Still up by 10 points. That mage plays for a lot. I love playing mages. I think they play really well in the meta right now. A lot of like decks are going wide instead of tall. So this is like something good you want to play. Consideration to take that out now because it is an engine. It's getting 2 points every time they take a tribute. 2 coins back, which is really good for helping them recycle poisons off the failed experiments and stuff like that. So So seeing Candle and Hideout in the same round go down makes me feel that much more like I want to win the round. Because them taking both of those over into round 2 really sucks, especially the Hideout, because, you know, converting the self-poison is really annoying. I don't have enough removal, but if I take Morkvarg here, I can get rid of the townsfolk. And they did spend their full leader because they're feeling pretty thirsty about it. Or we just remove that. So they can't throw any poison over at all. And then if they just keep earning, then we take the Morkvarg, you know? They don't have the 2 Salament. Okay. I feel like it just comes down to we play the card and see what happens.
Pray to your gods. They wouldn't dare cross me.
It's really expensive for them to take, you know? So they could, but then literally they're going into round 3 but nothing. Like, that's full leader, that's everything, right? And so they decide to go and take it, okay. Biggest fear is that they pass on us here. But I've been noticing that everyone just wants to 2-0. Like, it just feels like they can't accept card advantage. Like, they just want a 2-0 powerhouse. And sure enough, that's what we get.
This tech never. Why, Constable, this is powdered sugar.
Yeah. Okay, Blood Eagle actually keeps me ahead here. We don't have to go crazy, though. At this point, I'm starting to realize that there's no way they're going to 2-0.
It could very well be the deal of a lifetime. Die by my sword.
7. We just go ahead and spend for the removal. Okay. I'm trying to decide if I should just stay ahead, because we got to hit 12 points, but we don't even hit that. And we actually lose points if we don't play this first.
We'll greet him with fire and iron.
I would have maybe played that a little bit differently and put the bleeding on something else, because that's the tallest unit. That would be the best leader charge as of yet, so there's that. But okay, Siri, and then sure. I was just thinking, Brockvar Hunter, we ping off the shield off the Siri, we take a leader on it, no worries about iced in hand or not, because we still have Fukusha left and a lot of stuff, whereas the opponent pretty much played the entire deck. So, I think that's just the best way to look at it. Fukusha, Brand's going to be good. I think our short round game's just amazing. Seeing Ice being pulled here is actually kind of annoying because it doesn't really play for a lot anymore. So I think about maybe taking the mulligan there because it's 6. The only time Like, the only reason I wouldn't is because we have to go first, and if they play non-interactively, it sucks. But Fukusha there is perfect.
Women, children, elders, we spare none.
It's probably... just save points just in case. They can't poison everything. The other option would be to play King Bran there and then take like a Scoia'tael last say, but I don't think it matters. And we just get the forfeit there. Perfect. And moving on to the next one, here we got Nilfgaard, Imprisonment. Again, another one where we go first. So Jetta goes back. We have the one clans in hand for the warrior. The two warlords. We've got a couple raids, which is nice. I'm just looking for more units to play as well. That's a bit better, but I don't like Bran here. We can't even play Bran, so...
Stench of beer. I knows it well.
Similar start to before. And this is a good example of like the problems that you're going to have when you're playing warriors. Like Nilfgaard matchups will punish that with tempo. If you're playing against other Skellige matchups, if they have a discard package, they're going to push, right? If you're playing against Saskia in the Scoia'tael matchups, they have the means of really pushing this type of deck because we're just putting down 4 points per turn for a couple turns. It feels pretty bad. Sure enough, we have cultists, but we have the setup at least, right? Unfortunately, I don't have the means of getting rid of this one here. Kind of wish I had the Gutting Slash, but we took the mulligan on that earlier. War Clans would be overkilling it, so I'm really starting to regret this, but War Clans... You know, we get the overkill there. It's kind of carryover, sure, but Gutting Slash would have just removed that and still got the overkill. So next time, if it's the same matchup, I'll probably just keep the Gutting Slash. Calvite with Knickers is actually huge tempo, even if they're just trying to recomp the deck here. I decided to go and take that. Just because I want to see if maybe we can get a leader charge out here. Reduce the odds for their late game. But also I've kind of accepted the fact that we might have to just start defending a bleed. This I don't understand. At least they get the long round they're looking for, but they had me in a spot where they should have played in, I think, a little bit more. So I'll take that every time. Now I have 8 rounds to get my hand together, because going into round 3, if we miss something, I think we just lose because they're going to have everything. Alright, that's not bad. Nilfgaard is going to get a lot of value in this matchup. Same with our leader, right? Just drop that there. Maybe they think that's the pushing play, and then they drop a scenario or something. That would be perfect, wouldn't it? Nope. Contemplating if it's worth it, but it's really not. 2 cards down, you just can't push it. Ever. So we go into a scary long round 3 against Nilfgaard, and we gotta be careful, right? I'm worried about board space, but I'm also worried about just engine overload, so... We see Herald come in hand here. Squirrel's good. Whenever you pull Vabjorn late game, make sure you have enough raid cards in deck that if you mulligan into one, you don't brick him altogether. So you should have at least 2 in deck. Otherwise, you have to mulligan 1 from hand. So we get Fukusha there. Pretty much have everything. Even though my whole deck is premium, some of the cards aren't even showing premium. It's weird. Now, this is one of the things I don't like about going Devotion right now, is when they play this scenario specifically, and you can't deal with it, it gets pretty ugly, but at least I can sort of start bombing at the engines that they're playing and take away some of the value there. Also, keep in mind the on-crate Raider isn't going to work because they're definitely going to take a leader charge on that when we play it. So unless we have Bloodthirst before we play it, we're in trouble, right? That's a huge play for us. And this is one of those things that I mentioned in the intro of the video. Like, if you're playing against... You're playing against this matchup specifically, you get right through that defender, and they infused it with cultists, so it's like a 2-for-1 basically. It's actually a pretty good target for them. Keep in mind, guys, Brathen's is an engine, so it deserves the engine treatment. Putting Scoia'tael down there feels pretty good. I feel like they're going to proc assimilate quite a lot in this long round. They still have 7 cards to go. But every turn, I'm just looking for that opportunity to maybe play the Herald or play the Fukusha. It's kind of an annoying play to see there, right? Having that down.
wildest, wettest dreams.
That's not bad, because they can't infuse this. They can't lock this. We get Herald online as quick as possible so that we're actually getting some added passive points to everything we play. Keep in mind, the next card we play from hand that can be locked will be locked, so we got to be careful about that. It might just be the Raider here, because we know the Raider is probably going to get locked anyways, right? But getting rid of that plays for tons of points, and I see that as a priority here. So now they're just sitting on the 2 engines, which is not horrible for us. We have a decent lead. I wish there was a way I could take leader off that prophet now, but there really isn't. I'm trying to decide if it's King Bran or if it's the Raider we play here, but we know the Raider's going to get locked anyways because it's an order, whereas the King Bran's a deploy, so it's probably just better to do that. Break the chains and everything else. I'd like to get Fukusha down soon, get enough rain. Actually, that's pretty annoying too. Raider is just the best play to take here, but we just didn't have the bloodthirst, you know? Like, one more, we would have had the zeal, so we would have been able to use the order. That's why it feels bad. It's still the most points, even if it takes a leader charge here, because otherwise, like, something else will anyways. I guess they brick the operator, that's fine. You see, that's what I'm talking about here. 20-point profit boost by 4 whenever you play. At least it's the end of the round. So it's got to be the War Clans coming out here into the Hunter, I guess, at this point. Or Gutting, because Gutting plays for the boosted amount plus the 2. We can dome that at least, which is not bad, because it is a 2-point per turn engine. We get the overkill for the King Bran too. It's tough.
I'll gut you like fishes.
There was also the line to take the Blood Eagle into like an invader, but I just decided to go control there. I think we should just be good.
Quite literally.
Like, it looks bad, but we have so many points in that last turn. So, it's kind of where I'm coming from here, right? It's like literally 12, 24, 30 point play. Plus, actually, the ping off the Herald too, so... Yeah, there's the brick, because remember the operator earlier? Makes sense. Easily go and take that. I had enough of the cultist decks, guys, so I feel pretty good about this one right now. Get some W's up in the comments. And for the next game here, we got Call of Harmony Scoia'tael. And just another game where we go first. You guys know the drill by now. So Jutta has to go back. Having the 2 war clans is not very good either because we only have 1 card as of yet to set up with it. We can keep there. Jutta goes back. So that's pretty good. I got 2 warlords. We have the clan set up with the on-crate warrior. I've got something with the raider to chip down things for the primal savageries. Like, it's looking fairly smooth. I'm just worried because, yeah, stuff like that. That or scenario just jammed round 1 gets kind of ugly. I don't want to stay in the round too long because I give them more carryover value on their aspect, like finishers say, but also I give them more thinning. So it doesn't feel great for me there either. And counters at 1, this goes 15 plus whatever else, 18. That's the pass. That is the pass, we got it. Yeah, I recommend that if you're going to build a deck with Saskia, you put cards that have a little bit more of an impact than 3 points on the thin. Like the Half-Elf Hunter would play much better on deploy. That feels really good to me. We got our carryover, and we got out. So now, if they want to try and bleed us in round 2, then at least we have the extra card to defend. Morkvarg plays really well into their scenario because the first card they play is going to be 1 power base plus however many tags they have. So we could get like a 15, 16, 17 point Morkvarg depending on how they built their deck. I just really don't want a brick, but I don't love the hand. Warrior is a good throw card, but I don't expect someone who just jams the Saskia is going to accept that and go into round 3. I'm thinking that they're going to play in a little bit more because our round 3 is really bad for engine decks. So now it's like an uncomfortable push at least for them. Kind of looking to see how much of the movement package that they actually have. One of the matrons and the Cat Witcher are spent. So now, is it worth it to go and take something like the Scoia'tael, or do we just take like a slash, or do we just let it be? You know, there's a lot of thoughts there. Maybe they're just dropping the card as well so that they just have something to play. I don't know, but that looks pretty good to me too. A long round with the Hunter is really nice. Also, the fact that it gets the thin. I like it. Without question, we get rid of that. I don't know why they didn't start it on the other row to get the 1 point. Right? Because if it were moving backwards, then we'd hit the Brockvar be at 3, which would keep them ahead. I guess they figure on the pass they're still ahead. I take a slash there because Bearification's like really good. It's a huge swing, and I feel like a swing like that we don't have to make unless they start to keep pushing, you know? So yeah, no really big commitments. I play the warrior there because we don't want to see that in round 3 at all. Good thing we drew Jutta, because now we don't have to worry about drawing her again. So we go Blood Eagle into Iced into Jutta. We miss King Bran, unfortunately, which is fine. And Vabjorn, it's fine too, because we have pretty well all the raid cards in hand or have been played. So... See, that's what I was referring to. Like, you could just remove that here. I'm thinking maybe we wait. Maybe we try to get some carryover here and, you know, some value in the long round off the Herald. I have a lot of raid cards, so, you know, getting that down here is really good. 3, and then 4, 5, so... Huge. So they have engine superiority. We have to work at getting rid of some of these here. War Clans plays 5. Okay. Yeah, it's probably still... I feel guilty that they're at 6, you know? It could be even iced here, because we get 2 of them the same turn.
No retreat, not once.
Yeah, because that has harmony. If they infuse it, you can have harmony too. Like, I think it's just better that we get this set up here. And then we can just work on getting rid of the other fledgling. And if it gets boosted here... Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Percival can eat maybe the Morkvarg, so I'm not too worried about that one. Clans has huge reach for the fledgling too. Wrong card. Look at the clean removal. Like, this is why we do what we do here, you know? We get a bad snipe off the Herald, but it's fine. At 7. We gotta get rid of that, because if they infuse something else, they're just getting back another engine. So Gutting Slash, boom. Again, keeping them down to 1 engine now feels perfect. Chameleon just gets killed. Oh, that's nice. Primal Savagery right off that. Again, everything's just coming together perfectly here. And they have that one card that's going tall, which is playing into our strategy here. The only thing I'm kind of not liking too much is that I don't have the best Fukusha setup. You know, we have bronze cards we would have liked to play earlier. It's going to have to be the warrior here. Take the damage, get the rain. That's another engine we can remove if we play Scoia'tael on the 6 in the back. Another bad ping, but at this point I don't think it matters. They should be able to get rid of the 12. They have a pretty good slam in the end, but we still have a lot of points we're sitting on here. Again, that's actually not a bad idea. I wasn't thinking about taking it at first, but like, Jetta doesn't damage herself when she's not the tallest unit on the board. So before we go and we punish the Percival, you might as well just bring that back. Get the rain for 2 turns. Since there's only a couple turns left, it makes sense here. Kind of running out of time. Perfect, because that has Harmony. We take back the Warrior because we're almost done. We just sink it off, I guess. Maybe I should have put the rain on the front row.
Let's get this over with.
I wasn't expecting Igni. But you know what I mean? Like, it'll be close-ish, but it's not gonna be too bad for us. Yeah, 14 plus the Harmony 2. Plus the 2. Yeah. We got one more game here, Vampires. Finally a match where we don't go first, really. And the time we go second, we have all gold cards we can't play. At least I have the 2 Warlords, which is fine. If the opponent gives us a Flutter, because a lot of times they'll use like an Operator with a Flutter, each side's get one, the Warrior could actually be really nice on the 3 bleeding. That's actually annoying. I don't have the reach, and we don't have a movement tech. I thought about putting in something like a Harpooner, but I feel like we're overkilling so many things, and I would only want the movement. I wouldn't want necessarily the damage, and also this deck already has slow early plays, so having something like Harpooner would just be even worse for round 1 in most cases. Okay, so now we know what we're up against. Renfrey just strips the faction identity right out of the game. Renfrey's gang with Knickers and Renfrey, like those 4 cards out of 25 cards in a deck, and then Triss Butterflies being 5 cards out of 25, you're already 20% of the cards in your deck aren't even expressing the archetype, right? Then double Flutter auto-include, double Neckarat auto-include. You can see what I mean here. At this point, we keep the card because if we were to play in 1 turn more, they probably would have passed on me. And then they would have actually, like, won on even reverse, which would have been really bad. So we just have to try and defend the bleed. It's not going to be comfortable. And they still do get the last say Regis, which is what they're going for. But what can you do? King Brand has to go back for now. It didn't really get set up at all. This is all pretty good. I have throw cards. That's even better. Like, we would have been able to get iced off the Blood Eagle, but it's just better to have, you know, other ways to get other stuff. Herald. I'm looking at what they've played so far. And they just took a slow turn. So I'm thinking a lot of the tempo is going to be taken away from, you know, their plays. Now, do they bleed in? I'm not sure at this point, right? I'm going to wait till they, like when they hit 7 going on 6, if they play into 6, then we're going to really make sure they can't get card back, because that could be game-changing for us. If we can sink the full leader 12 off the Regis, it could be a difference between a win and a loss. So just a random leader charge here. I guess probably to turn on the Regis again. I like the Wraith because I can kill that and get the extra value. So good. Let's put this down so they can't give it bleeding, right? Again, I want to show them that, listen, if you're going to play in, I will contest it. So now they're looking at, okay, well, we have 13 points on their pass, you know, after the bleed. Yeah, it's just not worth it. To see 2 gold cards and all we did was take a thin, I feel pretty good about it. Right? And the leader charge as well, going into long round 3 now, is kind of our specialty. You see that big veteran flip, everything getting veteran. The only thing I really want is the Herald in hand. Double clans are set up just fine. If we take mulligans, we could brick the Jutta, which could lose the game. I think you just got to keep it the way it is here. There are some matchups where King Bran gets better value than others. In matchups where the opponent's boosting a lot, King Bran doesn't see as much because there's less overkill. And then, you know, obviously in ones where they're not, he will. So sometimes I do mulligan him back, but... Okay. That's a clean removal. Could, should, would, will, did. There. The most underestimated card in the game when played correctly. That warrior is just nasty. We got to get rid of that too. That's important. I could just hit it for 4, yeah. Save the charge on the Raider. I don't like that they're going wide with the bleeding, but... I like how everyone who plays Renfrey decks uses the Renfrey card back as well. Okay, I was looking for something to use the ping on. This feels really good because the Drowner's an engine that's probably going to get at least 3 or 4 more points, right? Easily. So we're trading up with that removal with the Raider. And then now going into looking to find the Herald could be pretty good. We get a bit of an overkill here, which is whatever, because I got to start getting some things going. And we missed the ping here too, but at least now we have stored damage, we have the engine out, and we can just play whatever we need to play. This sucks though. I might have to actually float that. Realistically, we're wasting a couple points. 2 from the card and then 1 from the Herald play, but what else can you do? At least now we have something to target. It's one of those things where I have the extra raid card to play. Probably going to be losing value if I don't do that. There's nothing else I can really take. Again, super frustrating situation where they don't play a lot of stuff. But even if they play around Rain, I have answers to most things that they're going to play anyways. Primal Savagery is going to play for a lot of points here.
I'll got you like fishing.
I sort of greeted that a little bit, but I think it's fine. I value taking out an engine more with Scoia'tael because I don't think that they're going to go super tall on a boost with anything else. Like with the Regis, yeah, but it's we're not getting that opportunity anyways because they have last say. And they rolled what they wanted to. I would imagine that they're looking for something to damage our stuff. What else can you do, right? We take care of the 6, the 1 goes away, they just have the 5. I think that Regis is big, but I don't think it's enough points to get rid of like this lead here. This is kind of nuts.
Your blood smells sweet.
My beauteous Calanth.
So, no one else dares.
67 to 5, yeah. That'll pretty much do it for this one here. Closer than it should be, but there we go.